Hey guys, I'm the Teen here. I've been trying to make a video about a specific topic, and you know that's next to impossible for me, so let's just jump right into it. GPS versus phone for motorcycles, which to use. Nowadays, with waterproof phones and really high quality phone mounts, I have for my other scooters, I do have a phone mount. It's a RAM. One of my customers bought it and then he just left it here because he borrowed one of my scooters and he was traveling around and he was using his phone, so he bought like a really good mount and then he just left it. I've never actually used it because I have a GPS, but I know that it works, and I know that I've had customers travel the whole island using just their phones, waterproof phones, and with no problems. So if a phone's good enough, then why do you need to spend another $300 pretty much minimum? This one cost $800, and at the time it was the only one available in Taiwan, so I didn't have a choice. But you can get a $100 one off of like Alibaba. They have like those cheap online sites. I bought a $100 one. And believe it or not, it was okay. There was two big problems with it. One was the mount. Like the mount for this one, this is the mount, and it charges through the mount. And the $100 one was just like this. It charged through the mount and everything. But what happened was, one day I was adjusting the angle of the mount. Like I just gave it some adjustment, and it snapped. And there was no way to fix it, and all the wiring was through the mount, so I couldn't charge it. The mount was broken. Like I didn't know how to order one separately, so just literally me trying to adjust it broke it. But in the GPS's defense, I was an idiot. I should have loosened it first before adjusting, and I didn't, because with the these Garmin's, I often adjust them without loosening. And that's a bad habit, like, because you can still, like, because they're so solid, and the mount is like made out of metal, so it's not going to snap. Although actually with this one, it actually did. I had it on really tight, and I tried forcing it to adjust it a little bit, the angle, because the sun was bouncing off of it, and it actually did it broke. But it was fixed, like I could fix it. It didn't break. It just kind of separated, and then I had to spend some time and with a screwdriver to reattach it. Garmin is so intelligent. Like, one of the things you get with the more extra money that you spend is, see these 4 screws? These screws are on rubber, and the rubber has some like suspension, like some cushioning to it. And if I force this thing, if I manhandle this mount, this part will actually pop off, and the screws will kind of be attached to the thing behind it, and then like the screws will go through the rubber and it'll kind of come off. But it takes a lot of force, and all you need to do to get it back on again is kind of just rebuild it. Take the screws off, and then put in the cushioning, and then put them back on again, and it's solid. It's good now. So they have that in mind, like if you use too much force, it's not going to break the mount. It'll kind of come apart, but you can just put it back together yourself. But with the cheap $100 one, so the cheap $100 one is definitely doable, and you just always need to remember to never just adjust the angle without first loosening it, because it can just snap. And also, if you just drop the bike or something, the $100 one would snap. But with this one, if I were to drop the bike and it were to land on the GPS, it would still be fine. Even if it kind of came apart, you could put it back. So yeah, and let's get into some of the points here. I don't have a lot of battery on my microphone, so I need to keep this quick. I love having a GPS. It opens up so many different things. For example, when I'm going somewhere that I normally go, like work, I very often, sometimes I'll leave to work early. Like I'll leave 5-10 minutes early. So now I have 5-10 minutes to kill on the way to work. So I can glance down on a regular basis and see, oh, okay, well, if I take this next right, it'll actually go over here, and it'll go near this body of water over here, and then I can continue on and actually get back to the same direction I was going without losing too much time. And then you can do that, like. And then sometimes I'll see, like, I'll be riding along like this, and I'll see a side street over here, and then I glance down at the GPS and I see, oh, that is not a dead end. So if I want to, I can take it. And like, look at this little road here. Like 9 times out of 10, any small road like this in Taiwan is just a driveway, and you'll ride it for 10 seconds and it'll be somebody's house with a bunch of dogs in front that'll come running out and bark at you, and you got to make a U-turn while they're nipping at your heels and come back out. But I can glance over my GPS and see that's not the case here. This actually leads to other roads as well. Ooh, even though we're exploring a road that's totally unused, and I can hear dogs ahead because that's just, dogs like to hang out in these kind of unused places. So yeah, but that's one of the fun things, and I can see there's going to be a body of water up ahead on the right, and if I take any left it'll get me out without having to backtrack, because I hate backtracking. I hate going down a road just to get to the end of it and have to turn around and go back down the same road. I love just continuously seeing new things. Oh, look at this. So we already have something, a bit of scenery here, some water, there's some dogs in there, they're not going to bother me. They're on the inside. There's chickens in there, and then I guess they're breeding fish there. And then look, you know, we're in the middle of nowhere now, which is always nice. Yeah, I love those kind of options, and I can always, and the crazy thing is like a lot of the features that this GPS has, I can't use because everything is kind of in Chinese, like, but even with Chinese, I can still go to like, where to, categories, attractions. All attractions. Okay, now it lists the attraction names in Chinese, so I don't know what these things are, but it makes it into a fun game for me because it's listing, these are all something that are supposedly things that are photo worthy, and they're all, this is a kilometer and a half away, kilometer and a half away, kilometer and a half away, so I can just randomly click on one, and then it's like playing oh, I don't want to go backwards, it's gonna take me back the way it came, but you know what I mean. You can just do like, it's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You can just randomly click on shit that you can't read and then just ride to go see what it is. It's so, I find it so fun. And you couldn't really do that on Google Maps. And then of course the big advantage with this is the fact that you never have to worry about getting lost. You can always just randomly take whatever road you want. And you can always just click on like go home, and you'll always have an idea of how long it'll take you to get home if there's something that you need to do. Just a wall of yellow flowers over there. These are rice fields on the left. Yeah. So again, here we have 3 intersections. You could do this with Google Maps on a phone, but of course phones overheat. Google Maps uses a lot of energy, so you need to constantly be charging your phone. With the GPS, it's just always on anyway, so you don't need to worry about it so much. This is like an abandoned house, I'm guessing. Close enough. I want to let my dog walk, but I'm worried about strays. Yeah, I can see. Okay, shall I go? There you go. Yeah, and then just the ability to use it while riding. One thing I love about a GPS that you wouldn't have with a phone, you can click on where to, and then saved, and then all saved places, and then you can figure out what's close to you. Like things that you've already been to, things that you've saved that you know are good and interesting. So for example, there's a farm a kilometer and a half away. That's probably the thing that we saw earlier. Mini Rainbow Bridge is, and then I wrote nice, is 3.6 kilometers away. Crazy Wall Farm, 3.9 kilometers away. Farm New, 4.2. Garden Cotton Candy, 4.2. Like all these places are just places that I found before that I found were interesting. So whenever I'm exploring and I find something that's cool and interesting that I want to share with my son or with a girl, I can just save. And then in the future, when I'm just going on a random ride with my son or a date, I can just, I don't need to have a destination. I can just ride any direction and then hit favorites on my GPS and say, oh, this is close to here, let's go there. Or this is close to here, let's go there. You can't do that with a phone. You can have favorites on a phone, of course, but you can't, while moving, just bring them all up and see how far each one of them is, like all listed nicely. So I really love the functionality of a dedicated GPS on a scooter or motorcycle. And if you live in a city and you ride around the same city all the time, then of course it's not really necessary. But for someone as fortunate as myself who lives in Asia, where everything is an adventure, I've been here 20 years, and this street is just a few minutes from my house, and I've never been here before. I've never been to this temple before. You know, I've lived in the house that I'm at now for, I don't know, 4 years or something, 4 or 5 years, and I've never been here before. I've never seen this before. So it's not that interesting, but it's still something new. And every day I can explore and find new things. I love it. Compared to Winnipeg, like living in Canada, in Canada, it takes you a couple years to memorize the entire city, and then after that, there's nothing new. There's no big explorations. There's no adventures within your own city, other than like riding through the poor part of town. That's always a bit of a thrill. Anyways, so long story short. Okay, so I'm using the audio on the GoPro right now because my microphone, my in-helmet microphone, died on me already. But yeah, that's my phone versus GPS video.